Hello everybody, this is Diego Pedreros. I am going to show you, I'm going to review how to update our IRE time series. So we are going to take a look what we need to do that. First of all, we need all the stations for the current decade. In this case, these are the stations for Ethiopia. This is the decade that we are going to update. So that's ready in a CSV format. So let's make sure that it's closed so that the GeoCLIM can run it correctly. Now let's go to the GeoCLIM and make sure that we have the latest CHIRPS that we are going to improve. So I'm going to take a look at my CHIRPS PPT Global. So now I'm going to update the 7th decade, so we don't have the final CHIRPS. We have only the preliminary CHIRPS. So what I did is I downloaded the preliminary CHIRPS and I put it in the CHIRPS Global Decade, so just to make sure that I have everything in the same place. Let's click here, okay, and let's take a look. So CHIRPS has all the way to Decade 7, right? The data set that we are going to update is this one. I call it Ethiopia IRE 150. So that's the data set that we are going to update. Let's take a look. This one has all the way to decade 6. So we are going to add the latest decade. So now we have everything. We have CHIRPS preliminary. We have the stations. So it is ready. So now let's, this could be done in two ways. Some of us, for example, I save the code. This is the code that I use. And I already changed the code for decade 1 of month 3. So when we have the code ready, the only thing that we need to do is add the stations to the station file. Yeah. In this case, this is decade 2018. That's my stations file. So once I added the new stations, I don't have to make any changes here. The only thing that I needed to change was, this was month 2, decade 3. That's the latest that I did, right? 2 month, this was like this. So that was when I ran the 3rd decade of February. And now the only thing that I need to do is this: change month 3, decade 1 to month 3, decade 1. And that's it. That's all we need. Everything should be the same. We are updating. The output folder is this one. That's the one that we want to update. And everything else is the same. So this is a way to do it. Now let's do, for those of you that don't have this file, let's do it the other way. The long way. So we come here to the batch assistant. We're gonna do the blending. So we click on the step. The first step is the blending. So we want to do decade 1 of month 3 to decade 1 of month 3, right? This is March. Decades right here. So that's correct. Click next. Let's make sure that we have in this section, we must have the data set that we want to use as the background for the blending. So the one that we want to use is CHIRPS, right? So in this case, remember that I was looking at the data set that my IRE time series. So the one that I have selected is IRE 150, but I actually want CHIRPS PPT Global Decades. That's the one that I want. So I just changed it right here, or I could have canceled and come back to settings and find this one, but we can change it from here. So just to make sure that we have the correct data set, the one that we want to use as the background is CHIRPS Global Decade, and that is, this section is now correct. Now let's find the station data, and the stations I have them in my station location, data, precipitation, ground stations, Ethiopia. Okay, it's a long path, but that's this is the usual is making sure that the columns are correct. So that's the stations. The ID should be this one. This is correct. This is correct. The first decade with values is that one, and that's it. So now we have the raster data is correct. The station data is correct. So now let's define the output location. The output directory where we want the blended data to go is our IRE 150. Perfect. In IRE 150, let's go to that directory to make sure that we have the correct prefix. So it is IRE, that's the prefix. So that way we must have here the same prefix, and here we select the directory we want the data to go, to be updated. Okay, let's do this. Let's make sure that all the parameters here are correct. Something different from what we did during the training is that this we had selected, I think it was 50 kilometers or 30 kilometers. There was a big debate on this. But when we do a small maximum effective distance, what happens is that then we start getting these very localized effects that we call bullseyes, because it's a very localized effect. So you see just a blob around the station, and then after the maximum effective distance is gone, then you see something different. And then Chris Funk suggested that we should use a larger maximum effective distance to dissipate those localized effects. So I would recommend to use different values to test, and to test with 30, with 50, with 100, so you can define what would be the best maximum effective distance to use, so you don't get that localized effect. So I'm using 150 kilometers and in this data set. So let's define the limits, region, Ethiopia. So those are my limits. Okay, so we are ready. Everything is complete in here. Let's click finish. Do you want to make a new GeoCLIM data set? Here we say no, because we want to update the existing one. Okay, and here we got to the file that we started with. So here we have March 1st decade, March 1st decade. That's the only one that we want to run. So now let's make sure that you save this file if you don't have it. Next decade, as soon as the decade comes out, you can come, and then the only thing that you need to do is change this to decade 2 and add the decade station data to the table, and that's it. That's all you need. So let's go back here to decade 1 and run it. So now it's running. Boom, done. Right, okay, let's close all this. I already have it saved. So now let's go back to our data set. That is that's correct, 150, and then we should have the new decade in there. Okay, so now we could do all kind of analysis, but that's the way we update our time series.